Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Non-Scripted Ramblings. I'm a Kendall Richardson. Thank you so much once again for joining me as I conclude my journey through history. It's over. It's over. This is it. This is the last episode. I think there will be though an episode kind of surmising my thoughts on the history album as a whole, because there's a bunch of stuff I probably haven't even said yet or even touched on, so because there's just so much to unpack and go through with this entire album. So look out for another video. I'll post this one, an epilogue if you will. But this is it as far as me going through every single song on the album. We're up to the last one. So thank you so much to everyone who has watched all of these videos. I really appreciate it so much. I hope you've gotten something out of me rambling about the King of Pop and enjoyed it. I really hope you have, just as much as I have, because I keep saying I've been really enjoying doing these, and I really am. It's been a lot of fun to really dive into these songs, and I've learnt things that it's crazy that I'm still learning things. I've been a lifelong fan of this man, and I'm still, there is still so much to unpack and discover in terms of his history, if you will, pun intended. So that's been really exciting for me as well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. But to the point, today I'm here to talk about an incredible song that is just... I'm so glad Michael recorded it, and forgive me in advance if I get emotional on this one, because I very well may, and I think I'm already starting to. So, because this is a very special song, because this song, Smile, was Michael Jackson's favourite song out of everything. This is the song that he often said was his favourite song that he'd ever heard. And he was a lifelong fan. As I was a lifelong fan of him, I am a lifelong fan of his. I still am, it always will be. He was a lifelong fan of Charlie Chaplin, for those of you who don't know. We can trace his love for Charlie all the way back to the 60s, even before Jackson 5, as in, Before I Want You Back. In 1967, there's a drawing that Michael did of Charlie Chaplin as the Tramp that looks really cool, and for someone who's like 8 or 9 years old drawing that, that's pretty impressive. So Google it, it's online, check it out, it's really cool. But that's just kind of the earliest example we have of Michael being very interested and appreciative of Charlie Chaplin. Just continuing on that tangent, I guess. So in 1979, there was a photo shoot that MJ did in England on the street where Charlie Chaplin actually lived, where he dressed as Charlie, as the Tramp. Had the little mustache, had the hat, had the cane, had the whole shebang. Those photos are really gorgeous, really nice. Again, go seek them out. There was also another photo shoot that Michael did in 1983 that has a few photos of him again dressing as the Tramp, which is really nice. The UK photos from 79 were taken by a photographer named Tony Prime. Very good photos, again, go check them out. In 1988, in June of that year, while Michael was touring with the Bad Tour, he actually got a chance to meet Una Chaplin, which is Charlie Chaplin's widow, because sadly Charlie passed away, I think in the late 70s, I believe he passed away, so Michael had never actually got a chance, sadly, to actually meet him, but he got to meet Una and spend time with the Chaplin family in, I think, Switzerland, where they ended up. And there's a really cool photo of Michael with Una, and he's holding 2 of Charlie Chaplin's Oscars. It's a really sweet little photo, and that must have been such a moment for him. It's crazy. So go seek that out as well if you want. And speaking of Michael dressing up as the Tramp, dressing up as Charlie Chaplin, the most well-known version of this we fans know is from the photo shoot for Smile, for the single. And was probably going to be for the short film that was in the works for Smile, because Smile was supposed to be the 7th and final single off of the History album. But sadly, things kind of fell apart. I couldn't find the exact reason as to why the song wasn't officially released as a single, why the short film never came to fruition, but it looks like there were one website I read said there were issues with the production of the short film, so it didn't end up going ahead, which is really sad. But the single was actually released as a promo single in the UK, South Africa, and the Netherlands on the 28th of December 1997, but that was before because it had been cancelled, but before they could pull everything off. It actually had been released in those countries, and the crazy thing is about those promo singles that went out, it's actually become now like one of the rarest items one can procure as a Michael Jackson fan, because it's like the single that almost happened and kind of happened but didn't happen. Like it's such a rare thing, because there's not very many copies, unfortunately, of Smile, the single, in circulation. So if you're a fan watching this and you've got one, that's pretty cool, and I'd like to see a photo of you holding your copy, because that's sacred MJ memorabilia right there. The photo shoot though for that single was taken by a photographer by the name of Stephen Paul Whitsett, an American photographer that worked for Michael during the History era and starting from the late Dangerous era, I believe. And yeah, he took some beautiful photos of Michael as the Tramp. It's so cool, because this is when Michael had the short hair in the 90s. The only time I didn't like the short hair on him in the 90s. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna clear that up right now. I didn't love it. I love long-haired Michael. That's my guy. But he cut his hair and it's fine. It's not the end of the world, but it suited the Tramp outfit quite well. So he had like his roughly curly hair underneath the bowler hat, and he had the little mustache on and the eyeliner going around, and the whole shebang, the whole look. There's even like small little bits of video of him dressing as Charlie online as well that you can see, which is really cool. It looks awesome. He looks wonderful as him. It's so great. Like there's even like a cool side by side online I saw yesterday, and during my research for this, just of him and Charlie, like how similar they look when they're both kind of dressed as the Tramp. Yeah, it was really, really awesome. So no surprises that Michael loved Charlie and then loved this song and went on to record it. And fitting that it was not only was it the final track on the History album, but the final track on, or to be released as a single, it was supposed to be. So it's kind of like how Scream was the first track and the first single, Smile was to be the last track and the last single. A nice kind of bookend framing there, I think, is really good. I feel like a reason why Smile was the last song on the album has to come down to the fact that this entire album has just focused on these themes of, Michael firing back at the media, Michael expressing his anger, trying to use music in a cathartic way to really deal with and process all of the horrors he went through in 1993. That's what this album is about, and it's incredible, and it's so wonderful, and creatively some of his best work ever is this album, History. But I think the reason why Smile is the end of this album is because it's like, well, the lyrics of Smile obviously talk about, smile though your heart is aching, smile even though it's breaking. You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Like, it's all about being optimistic, being, trying to stay positive, just smile and feel the joy again in life, and you can get through anything if you just smile, if you just stay positive, and I think that's what Michael really needed to remind himself, maybe, to kind of get through these awful times that he went through, was just to really focus on no, everything's going to be okay. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to get through this. I've got so many great people around me. I've got my fans. I've got the music, I will get through this. So maybe this song was a bit of a reminder for him to keep on going and to just find the joy in life, you know. And that's kind of the message he kind of carried on after that. Just like, he always used to refer in interviews that he has rhinoceros skin, that, like, you know, it's like water off a duck's back, like all these awful things people say. Like, yes, there's a point to where it kind of gets out of control and it can greatly affect someone, as it clearly did affect him, but like at the end of the day, I think he became stronger after 93 for a number of years. He was, you know, through the 90s and the rest of the 90s, like, it's like I said earlier when I can't remember what video it was now, maybe it was the Scream video. Back at the start, I talked about a Diane Sawyer interview and how different Michael was just in that situation. He just seemed to be on a level of outgoingness like we'd never seen before. And then that kind of continued, you know, through the late 90s, and, you know, the way he performs himself as the maestro in Ghosts, the way he speaks with Barbara Walters when she interviews him in 97. There's just so many examples, I think, of Michael having that rhinoceros skin and having used that principle of the song Smile and put it into his own life. So I think it's so fitting that it's the final track, you know. It's the, you know, if Scream's the mission statement, then this is the where do we go from here. This is the, okay, I'm good now, let's move on. That's what Smile is. That's how I interpret it anyway. As for the song itself, the music was written by Charlie Chaplin for his classic film Modern Times, which came out in 1936. There were no lyrics then, though, which I didn't actually know. I thought the lyrics were written at the same time as the music, but that's not true. The lyrics were actually written by John Turner and Jeffrey Parsons in 1954. So it was almost 20 years until, you know, these words were added to this beautiful music. Because it's such a wonderful melody, Smile. Like, it really sums, like, not only do the lyrics just sum up the song and the message of the song, the music, you know, I can see why there were no lyrics for so long now when I think about it, just because the way it kind of, the music kind of goes really beautiful, and then there's just these slight, you know, notes and variations in there that kind of add this bittersweetness to it, add this kind of tinge of sadness to it. Like, it's such an interesting song. It's so beautiful and so beautifully written. Yeah, it's wonderful. I really need to watch more Charlie Chaplin films. He's got so many great ones, of course. But yeah, what else can I say? Okay, so here's some trivia. So we never really actually got to see Michael ever perform this song. The only time there is any kind of footage, I believe, that's been released to the public anyway, footage of Michael singing Smile, was during the that shitty documentary Living with Michael Jackson that was released in 2003. There's a really nice scene where Michael is walking along with Prince in Paris, and he's singing the song, just unprompted, unwarranted, that's just what he was feeling at the time, and you can hear him singing it, and it's really, really nice. So that's the only time we've ever really heard him, outside of obviously the recording of this song. That's the only time we've heard him sing it and have actual footage of him singing it. So that's really sweet. But apparently it was going to be performed as part of the concert special that HBO was planning on doing back in 95. So there was I think it was 95 or 96. There was a concert that was supposed to take place. It was supposed to be this big, grand special. I think it was going to be filmed in, it was New York, I think. It was either Madison Square Garden or Radio City Music Hall. It was some famous venue, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe it was the Apollo. I can't remember. It was in New York. I'm fairly certain it was New York. But unfortunately, the concert never went ahead because Michael kind of ran himself into the ground on this one a bit. He collapsed during rehearsal and was hospitalized for a brief period of time. He was fine. He was just, I believe it was just like dehydration and and a bunch of other like stuff. He was just not, he'd been working himself too hard, I think, was the problem. And maybe there was a lot of pressure at the time for him to really pull this off. I don't know. I don't, a lot of people don't really know the full story of what happened with this. It's kind of a bit of a mythical event in the fan community, I believe. But if it had pulled it off, it would have been incredible. Like, it was supposed to be this big, epic, awesome show, you know. The first time him properly playing a show since the Dangerous tour was cancelled in 1993, due to that awfulness that happened to him in 1993. So, it just never, sadly never went ahead, never got rescheduled, it was never postponed, it was just cancelled, straight up. But he was gonna perform Smile as part of that set list, and I think he maybe was gonna do it with This Is It. I think, maybe, I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of songs he was gonna perform on This Is It, and I imagine Smile being his favourite, and the fact that he never had a chance to perform it. And he didn't put it on the History tour though, but maybe that's a bit different. I mean, this one night only show, this HBO show, was a bit more, I don't know, I don't want to say theatrical or special or intimate or something, I don't know, but like, maybe there's a reason why it wasn't included on the History tour, I don't know. If anyone knows, comment below, let me know, would love any more information. I am here to learn as well, as I've said, so yeah, so that's kind of sad, but yeah, it's such a great song. The way Michael sings it is really, really lovely, really warm, really wholesome, beautiful. Just, you can hear how much he loves this song, how much of himself he's putting into it, how much joy is going into it. You could hear him smiling as he sings it, honestly. Like, every time I listen, I can just picture him with a big grin, you know, that beautiful smile that he had, just lighting up the room as he sings it. Like, if there's any footage of him in the recording studio singing this song, I would die if I saw it, because it would be just so beautiful. But yeah, the music is beautiful, the orchestral arrangements, and the strings are really nice. The whole thing, it comes together so wonderful. It's such a beautiful composition and delivery from Michael, as always. It's just really lovely. It just kind of, for me, reinforces the fact that I really do think his vocal strength was this History album. Like, he really came into his own, like, obviously from Bad onwards, but like, I feel like just the consistency of the quality of his voice is probably the best on History. Like, it just sounds so good, you know. He was in his mid to late 30s at the time recording it, so just that was it for me in terms of his vocals. I think that was very, very remarkable, and yeah, this is a shining example of that on Smile. And it's really sweet. The little outro is really nice. You can hear him laughing, like, he chuckles, you hear him chuckle, he's like kind of la-ing the melody at the end in the outro, and you can hear him like little chuckle as he's doing it, and then he goes into like a whistle, and he starts whistling the melody, and then he's just being backed up by a single piano. Like, everything kind of falls away, and it just becomes this raw, like, basic kind of experience that's just really honest and truthful and real, and just adds to the power of the song, I think. And yeah, it's just so nice to listen to, hear him whistling, and then like he stops whistling when the song ends, and then you can hear him laughing again. I'm just like, oh god, what I would give to see that. If there's footage, somebody please release it. God, we'd all cry forever, but we'd all smile at the same time. Because what's the use of crying, as the song goes. Yes, so it's beautiful. It's a really great song. If you haven't heard Michael Jackson's version of Smile, do yourself a favour, listen to it. It's so nice. It was a song that was really hard to listen to for me personally for a while after he passed, because, you know, it's just going through such a heartbreaking time losing him like we did. It was so hard to even find the joy in him for so long, and you know, this song, along with probably Man in the Mirror and a couple of others, there were a couple of other songs that I couldn't listen to for like forever, in 2009, And yeah, this was one of them, just because it was like, you know, it's like, smile though your heart is breaking, but I'm like, yes, my heart's breaking, but I can't smile. I'm trying so hard, Michael, I can't smile. It's just so sad and it's so unfair, but yeah. But I listen to it now and I just smile and I just think of the good times and the fact that we were just so lucky to have him, you know, and the fact that we were all alive at the same time as him is just a miracle to me. So yeah, we're very lucky. So go listen, before I start crying, I'm going to wrap this up. Go listen to Smile by Michael Jackson and just really, really feel it with him. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna say. So thank you guys so much. We've reached the end. This is it. Poor choice of words, Kendall. Maybe poor choice, I don't know. But this is the end of history. My journey has reached its conclusion. Thank you guys so much. You guys are the best for watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It means the world to me, it really does. I'm glad that you were here with me, experiencing me taking a look back through this incredible album track by track. 25 years ago, man, I can't believe. 25 years ago, I was in my parents' living room, sitting behind the couch on the beanbags with my big-ass 80s headphones plugged into the CD player, listening on full volume to this album. It's been 25 years since I did that. Where does the time go, honestly? So, yeah, go listen to Smile. Go listen to every song on History. Go through it track by track. Listen to it, experience it, let it wash over you. Take it in, really, and just feel it, you know? Feel it. Be one with the music. It's so great. So thank you so much for joining me through all these videos. I really appreciate it so much. You guys are the best. I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Thank you. Awesome, that's it for me then. So thank you so much. I'm just gonna keep saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, because I'm really grateful. And yeah, so I may be back with a video that kind of summarizes history and my general thoughts on the album as a whole. So stay tuned for that. And, but yeah, I guess until then, I've been a Kendall Richardson, and you've just experienced non-scripted ramblings.